In the castle where shadows creep, Queen Erica sits, her secrets deep, her crown's a mirror, cracked and slide, reflecting power built on a lie. Whispers slither through the hall, gold and greed, they rot it all. Oh, Queen Erica, your cards to play, masked in jewels, but hearts decay. The throne is high, the truth is low. How long till your kingdom The jester laughs, but not with glee. His jokes are chains, his soul's not free. Knights bow down with hollow pride. Their swords defend what's dead inside. The banquet's rich, the wine is red, but poison lingers where it's fed. A feast of lies, a toast of sin. The court is drowning from within. Oh, Queen Erica, your cards to play, masked in jewels, but hearts decay. The throne is high, the truth is low. How long till your kingdom
Greetings in the name of the Most High. Yes. Well, despite that sort of hard-nosed world-only look yesterday of realizing what the world was like, I remember when I knew the way the world was as a teenager, and I remember writing a novel, and I don't know where that novel is now. And it was about a boy that couldn't handle it. And I guess it was about me. And I remember how the novel ended. It ended with a boy, and when I say boy, he's still a teenager, I guess, with a boy looking and waiting that he didn't understand why the world was the way it was. And so he was determined to hang around and wait until he had an answer. And obviously the only answer could come from God. I mean, so I've gone back into the book of Job to find an answer as to why Job would continue without blaming God, and why people would continue without blaming God, without without complaint, given given the circumstances. And then as I woke up this morning, and it's getting down to the play-by-play, folks. You know, I owe it to you to give it to, to follow up. I was remembering these really not good vibes, but seeing this shift in the cells of people, like our cells and our sense of time and our sense of knowing things and our sense of doing things, doing war, doing crime, doing peace, doing salvation, doing whatever we do. And I looked at the thing and I realized it's about to expire. And there is indeed, the new paradigm will not be televised. The new paradigm will not be understood. The new paradigm will not be talked about because the people going through it won't realize they've gone through it. But the result will be different. So, well, that definition of insanity is, doing the same thing over and over and planning the same results. That's just it. We don't do the same thing over and over again. It doesn't mean there aren't, devils out there and corruption out there to be slain. But if you look at, the one thing you have to get, I guess I have to get in my head, I have to really understand, is that, and I've known this throughout my life, is that there is no leader better than you, better than me. We all fall short of the glory of God. We all fall short due to, corruption, short because of the fallen flesh condition. And that goes for everybody, every human being. But despite that, things happen that are not predictable, that happen for the good, that are not predictable, given the fallen condition of the human who's in charge, where you would think, well, these humans should be plotting against each other, and they should be stealing from each other. They should be killing each other. It should just be that nonstop around the world with no laughter whatsoever, and only tears and no laughter, and only slaying, murdering, lying, stealing. Or, if you will, the personality of the devil. So why isn't it that way? And then I also realized that the fourth turning here, which we talked about this, but we were expecting, some good things coming down the pike, and things were changing, the way we do business, the way we trade, the way we do a lot of things were changing. But the internal strife, the old, I guess we could say the old grudges, were also growing in intensity during that time. Whenever you have a movement one way or the other, there's a backlash that comes to greet it. But where this is headed, there's no backlash that can stop it. And, where it's headed is, as I've had discussions with friends, it can't just be no, bad, no, bad, cry, bad, cry, throw yourself in the grave. There's variations to the events that happen. And there are people that do things that are inexplicable. Well, those things will be increasing as people find ways of, coalescing that I believe begin at the cell level, that provides resistance against the technocratic society that is planned. On the one hand, yes, they plan the technocratic, soulless society. And on the other hand, there is God and the soul. And if the technocrats and the bureaucrats and the scientific dictatorship out there all change, unbeknownst to them, then a lot of what's scheduled, you can just sit back and wait and see, because there's no guarantee those things will happen. And of course, that begins a process of hope. The other thing about hope is that God has provided hope throughout. Well, there's a lot of people that don't know the scriptures, but if you look through the Old and New Testament, it's like, I am God, you're God, and there is none other like me. I created the heavens and the earth, and I will be with you all the days of your life. And I will fight your battles, and I will make sure that you have despite this, which is what freaks us out, you will be led into a fruitful life. Of course, the only guarantee is your faith. And as Jesus said, if you have the faith of a mustard seed, you can move this mountain here, there, low, here, low, there. So, and you say, well, what is the basis for my faith? Well, I don't have any basis. I have faith, and I see miracles occurring every day. Just like for myself, I woke up this morning and I had a vision of this peaceful future. Even though all over the internet, they're talking about Antifa versus the US government versus terror attacks versus all these things, things we've already been through. Repeat, beep, 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 repeat. We've already been through this. Excuse me. We've already seen this movie. We've already, we've written and read the reviews. We see it's not good. This was the age of destruction, the dark age. But whether we like it or not, we're going into an age opposite of that. It's just impossible for us to grok how it would happen, especially if it happens to you and you don't notice it. And that's what I woke up with. I realized we're not going to notice it. We're just going to do it. And God has a reason to have intact humans on the earth. Now, why do I say intact? I say intact because many humans that are not intact, of course, will fall prey to the evildoers and their plans of a technocratic society of soulless robots, which we're speaking up against. But only a massive, miraculous change at the DNA level can ensure that there would be a different world, which is what they're trying to stave off with their mRNAs and all their big pharmas and all that. That's nothing to trifle with. That's pharmakia. That's evil. So instead of, you can have my daughter had a negative opinion of everything and wanted to kill herself since she was 16. Had been struggling with suicide since then, but then they put her on Zoloft. And it seems that after she was on Zoloft, off she went. But she never found, she did two of the 500-mile walks across Spain for God. And she was a listener of the Zeph Report. She was, her faith, and she told me her faith in God is in her heart, and it's just permanently there. But, she was also impatient, and she was impulsive, and she wanted what she wanted now. And when things weren't going her way, she would make a fuss, become very dramatic. So I don't know. I look at it every day trying to figure out if there's a way that I can look at it that wouldn't bring me grief, but there isn't. So I live with it. And then, of course, all the things about myself. Could I have been a better dad? Should I have been more involved? Should I have insisted that she stay here in New Mexico when she was bouncing back and forth to Italy on her own free will? And yes, all those things I should have done. Yeah, maybe I just didn't realize it was so dire. And then at the same time, I was not well in 2018. And I was on my way toward mass infection and hospitalization and an organ failure. So, I was on death's door. And I was in the hospital and I'd lost the use of my legs. They just went. And it was just really
That was in 2018, huh?
No, but I mean, I was on my way in 2018. I was having symptoms of heart failure and, being out of breath and just not being robust the way I had been. And, this would be in my 60s. And then slowly it, developed until it finally got to where I was 69. And then everything hit. Ironically, and, kind of coincidentally, my father lost his life when he was 69 due to being, in my opinion, being poisoned. And very similar, had, congestive heart failure, muscular dystrophy, all kinds of things. And then it seemed I pushed through that. And I came through to the other side. No thanks to the hospital, which I've made clear. I had to fight them and fight for myself to exist, because they were telling Trish and other people to prepare for my death, to get my things in order. And I'm sure there's a few witches that felt good about that, who've, they take pride in holding me down, holding me back, interrupting my plans, stopping my progress. Whenever it stops. And what I like to say to them is, it's not you stopping me, it's me stopping me. It's my need to learn more. It's the fact that the journey is the destination. The journey is the school. And when things aren't going well, that means that learning needs to be, that there's a learning opportunity. It doesn't mean that you win, I lose, ha, 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 ha. That kind of immaturity and so forth, it has no place in adulthood. It has no place in reality. If you're going to analyze what life on earth is, it's not a playground where, the bully, they bully the poor kid into crying, and then everyone points and laughs at him. That's a very low state of consciousness. And I admit, a lot of people that are in the dark arts are very vindictive, and they feel that, oh, I got you. But then they realize, as their own lives start going down the tubes, and they need to, and that all these things that happen have meaning. There's a meaning in the sickness. There's a struggle in it. There's people that you interact with and they affect you. There's no ceasing of life that goes on in infirmity. But be that as it may, people have a perfectionistic idea of life. And that is something that will never really be. And, but is it wrong to have your eyes open and stare things like, realize you're a child and you're immature, and you're looking at it, well, if I can't have anything decent and this is just a shitty world, I want to kill myself, which is a childish point of view. That means you definitely need to grow up. But at the same time, growing up without faith and hope is tragic. And it's happening because collectively, our fathers and our forefathers have let us down, have turned the churches into brothels, have turned politics into, mafia corruption, have turned our children into prostitutes. And so what is there left? And the people that are calling the shots are saying, mass extinction event. Raise them, let them suffer, and then wipe them all. Eliminate them. Kill every last one of them. Humans are a disease anyway. And so therein lies the miscalculation. Therein lies the rejection of God and the what I would say is the advent of the human mind as God. And there comes the real misery, that after all your efforts on this earth, you get an F, failure. You have failed to even make people in your own family content to see it through with you. You have failed to communicate even the least bit of hope or the least bit of faith or the least bit of education needed for these children to grow and to be able to affect this problem we have here logically, but also as mature beings rather than just short-sighted, angry. Like when I look at a lot of the marchings of the left and we want these. We want it now. They're saying we want it. And it reminds me of children. We want it now, 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 now. And can't have it now. Well, we can burn it down and run it now. So, and this is clearly a failure of society. The advent of the complainers. But don't worry, they were there with Moses at the through the 40 years, in the wilderness. They were there with Moses. And, they were the one, doing what they do today, worshiping the golden calf, getting their abortions to, sacrificing their children to Molech. The whole bit was going on. And then finally, Moses had to eliminate them, or God would not bless Moses anymore. God would stop leading Moses through the wilderness. And so it came down to that. So anyway, what I'm here to say is, the world is what it is, but see, it's always ever changing. And when I turned on the TV on mute, just to see what the news is, I'm seeing they're planning on rebuilding Gaza and for that matter, Tel Aviv, and they're all celebrating this peace accord, which I know people that want to reject it because it came from Donald Trump. Now let's have this, because I'm actually really pretty happy today. I have no reason to be. I just watched a couple peers, semi-famous musicians, and the bass player of the Moody Blues just passed. And, Diane Keaton passed. I grew up with her. And it's like, well, so now what? And I'm like, well, I don't know why my heart is lighter today. I don't know what happened there, but I intend to be giddy about things the world might just laugh at as foolish. But to me, it's not foolish. Sunrise is not foolish. The beautiful landscape of New Mexico is not foolish. The peace between people who work together, family members, is not foolish. And of course, all the silliness that people do is not foolishness. It's be rejoice in your freedom to be silly today. I was just thinking, it's Sunday. I think it's Pancake Day somewhere, right? I'm looking at a picture now of, as I look at Gaza, and I'm looking over at the TV screen. We have screens everywhere. As I look at Gaza, I just see like this beach and this great waves out there. I hate to say it, but it's just like, man, that place could be completely transformed into something. So could Syria. And all this fighting over the Middle East and the Illuminati and Satan, the Satanists are there. They pledged their honor to Satan. They've also pledged to each other to keep each other out of jail. That's why when you look at Trump's report card, you have, of the players now, I'm talking about sitting senators and lawyers and, top people. The scorecard reads 0 when there's supposed to be thousands of arrests and all that. And then you also saw from my reporting yesterday that, Pam Bondi is one of the main people that had protected, the quashing of, Trump quashing Epstein And I know a lot of people are upset about that, but it was to protect, believe it or not, the infrastructure of the United States. It came under national security. If people find out what scoundrels and what perverts we are, the nation's over. It's done. And on that basis, they sought to tell you, we're getting them. We got them lined up, says Kash Patel. And then Bondi comes in as the closer, right? Closing the case out. 8 senators on film with, being massaged by little kids on Epstein Island, okay, participating in the blackmail orgies or whatever. And Senator Kennedy saying to AG Pam Bondi, okay, General, what's it going to take to get these records? Well, so it's not the phone records, and no, it's what's on the videotape. Well, what's on the videotape? And then Howard Lutnick had testified, because he was running his mouth at one time. Lutnick testified, they're participating, all sitting senators, and from both sides of the aisle. There's no aisle anyway, So, and then he was asking her, so what are the odds on you subpoenaing Howard Lutnick to get his testimony? And she was very vague, like, well, if it's not really my department, and, obfuscating in that way, okay? So I just want you to understand that I know that's true. I know she covered it up. I know Trump covered it up. I know, these people have done a lot of bad things. They're made of the flesh. They do bad things. They're going to do bad things. They're flesh. And, but despite that, there is the turning to God and being led by the Holy Spirit. And that is where my hope is. And for example, right now, do you realize how many people are my age and are just bitter as hell? Folks, you youngins out there, you kids, do you realize that? Your grandparents, your mothers and fathers, if you're a little older, are sitting there bitter and slowly falling apart. And their hands are shaking now, and their vision's not good, and their hearing isn't good anymore, and their memory isn't good, and they're just needing to be taken care of. And a lot of you people are just saying, oh God, what a burden. We got to find a home for dad. Got to find a home for mom. Well, a home for me would just break my heart, would break my soul. You want to find a home for me? Because I don't remember things exactly perfectly or make mistakes. Actually, I'm pretty sharp. I don't know why I'm still sharp. But a lot of other things, you notice go, like, arthritis and just all kinds of things keep, creeping in and putting weight on us. The senior citizen is the hero. The senior citizen is the most heroic person, because the senior citizen copes with all this stuff quietly, and has to have faith to keep going, because otherwise it'd be too depressing to go on. And then, yes, a lot of them do commit suicide, but usually that's because the family members don't pay any attention to them or visit them. Right? They're old, and we don't want anything to do with that. So there's plenty of blame to go around. Don't just look at Trump. Look at us. Plenty of blame to go around, despite the fact that we have grace by God through Jesus and through the blood of Christ, which can be appropriated, on us right now in Jesus' name. That the blood of Christ will see us through, will cover us from the evil day of judgment against all sin, will cover us, will give us a legal standing in the court of Yahweh. If you really want to understand, yes, we have the advocate there, Jesus, standing in our place, but still we have some thing called the blood of Christ that actually repairs any breach And the only way to access the blood of Christ is what? Faith. And faith, like love covers a multitude of sins, faith covers a multitude of sins. Anyway, I have hope today, and I have happiness today, even though things are not perfect, because I know God's with me, because I know He gave me that vision today of and this is for some of you out there who are doubting me, that we talked about the shift, the new beginning, all that. That's all on the table. Nothing has changed. I mean, I kind of when I'm negative, I indicated it's all fucked, it's all bad, and I guess I was wrong. But no, those changes that are coming, and it's a cosmic. It's not just our will or our frailty and our inability to cope because we're human. It's got nothing to do with us being human. We're going into it whether we like it or not, and the old guard is going to hang on with their wars and their jabs and their sickness and their big pharma, and they're going to try to do their mind control, soul scalping, and all the things they do, promising you all this wealth if you just join them, like all of Hollywood and so forth and so on. People get to the point when there's enough of them on Satan's side, they just start hunting lambs. And it's like, well, I didn't want to go the way you went. Oh, that's it. I'm sorry, that offense. We need people to kill. And you guys are a free kill, okay? So I understand coming out of gang stalking, how bad that can be, because the real paradigm is what I just said. They need people to kill, especially when they're young. They're new converts. And they need to kill people to stay in the good stead with Satan. And so lambs, if you can poison them or trick them, or, all these things have been done to me. So don't worry, I'm a veteran of it all. But if God wants you to survive, God knows the day of my death. And I'm not going any day until He says. And that makes me happy. But anyway, they have tried the poisonings and the overdoses and the coma and the insane years of in and out of hospitalizations and all kinds of treatments and Truman Show and psychiatrists and just about everything they could think of to put pressure on me to be a decent heir. And I said, I'm no help to you if I'm a Satanist heir. The only help I am to you, the only possible help that God would smile on you or give you a chance would be if I stay the course and let you throw rocks at me and let you try to kill me, my own family. And then and only then, and cheered by no one on earth, but acknowledged by heaven, will there be a reckoning. And those of us who have paid the price of, God, the price, just when I think about the stupidity of these people, I feel sorry for their intellects. I feel sorry that I just think, so what do you do when you go down to the beach house? Just sort of play with yourself and look out at the ocean. I mean, I don't know what, right? And it's just like some retard, and I can't imagine anything else they do. Look for children to have sex with, right? Look to get, because they're covered, right? Look for some kind of illicit deal to lie about and swindle somebody, to commit adultery with your wife's sister, and to have all manner of shenanigans going on and not tell anyone anything, and secretly be working with these demons to bring it all about and to align the stars so that you can sin with impunity. The wages of sin, my dear friend, and to everyone that was my peer, that unfortunately you're all dying now, dying in your sin. And it's a sadness, but I'm not going to let it ruin my day. But I'll just tell you this. The wages of sin is death, or our death. The wages are death. And no one expects you to be able to turn from sin completely, or I mean, I'm a sinner big time, and one of the worst sins that I do is, just get really, really angry and and then just call everything fucked and fuck God and this and that and everything else. It's just stuff I'm very embarrassed about. But I don't mean it. I don't mean to be like that. I know I repent. I'm in the desert. I stare at the stars. I'm hoping God will forgive me. And that's, but at the same time, I realize that the kind of sin that I resist, that there's a great, pressure that if you want things to work out, you'll join the other side. It's like, well, so these people are on the other side that want to get into, say, Hollywood with their projects. And then the people that are there, they're already in Satan with their projects and their secret societies. So there's no difference between those trying to get in and, it's so the idea of guaranteeing somebody a slot in Hollywood for destroying their souls is, I know it's, I guess, tempting for people that all they can think about is themselves. All they can think about is their fame, their fortune. All they can think about is that other guy with the beach house in Malibu, and they don't have one. They've got to have one. And so they go to the orgy or wherever it is they're initiating these days, the ballot box, and cast their soul in. And, through some sexual act and other things, agreeing to becoming someone's slave and working way up the ladder, and then, of course, surpassing them only because you do evil, and then you have to get away with it. And a lot of people lose their nerve or lose their balls because they're afraid to kill, right? Most people are afraid to kill. And so they stay in their position. They're working at the 7-Eleven, but wait, no one is coming in here and harassing me or gang stalking me. That's something. Yeah, but who cares? You have no soul. If you die, it's a, like a branch falling off a tree. It does. If nobody sees it, nobody even cares. See, we have to become the family of God, branches and all, in order to function, so that it works out for us. Because otherwise, what would be the reason to hang in here? Not many reasons, right? But if it's God's purpose that you're here and you become part of the family of souls in Christ, and you're doing what you're led to do, and you're very busy because the Lord has you putting you to task, and you feel a sense of mission and a sense of pride in it. Even, I mean, I don't mean the bad pride, but good pride. I would say that your life has meaning, and you're very valuable, and it's very appreciated that you're here on earth being a force for good, rather than like the rest of your friends who are just sucking up the oxygen wherever they go in their selfishness, in their sense of entitlement, in their egos, in their competition with each other to be number one. So they all join Satan's side so they can win. And then left in the middle of, the desert highway at the little 7-Eleven and gas station for the rest of their lives, wondering, what the fuck did I do? Now, there's still hope for you, 7-Eleven. But when you're 45 years old at the 7-Eleven, your plan didn't exactly go right, which I would have told you, but you had to find out for yourself. So repent. That's all. Oh, but that repentance has to be from the heart. You have to let God change your heart. You got to live with the fact that every day there's a mirror up on you showing you your shortcomings, and then vow to go again, and pray that the Lord would keep you within the rails and the confines of faith and goodness, rather than going off on your own and doing something stupid. So that's it for today. I just wanted to encourage you that I'm 71 going on 72 in March. That's also the 24th year anniversary of the Zeph Report with all our millions of listeners. And people say, well, why'd you keep going if you were such a small support? And I said, well, we've had large amounts of people, and we've had small, and we've had a lot of the times what's happened is the company like Spreaker took all my followers away. We were up to about 25,000, which is not huge, but I mean, that's pretty good for us. And they took it down to first tranche was 1,500, and then down to nothing. YouTube did the same thing. So you get the impression that I've got no one listening, and that's okay. Listen, what matters is I'm doing it for God. I'm not doing it for you. Whether I feel good, whether I feel bad, whether I base, whether I abound, whether I'm low, whether I'm high, you get me. I'm doing it for the Lord. And he wants me to stay here. And I think one thing the Lord wants is that no one to listen. No one to tune in. No one to even care about how I'm doing. And like me to keep going anyway, to show that I have faith in him and his mission. It's got nothing to do with me. So I don't evaluate based on, listening to me. If I'm connected to God at all, you must reject me down to the last man. The fact that I have anyone following me at all is kind of like a little mark against my character. And I know that sounds weird and backwards, but that's the world we're living in. It's like the Beatles have their song, Eleanor Rigby, all the lonely people, where all they do, they all come from. And they have Father Mackenzie working on the words of a sermon that no one will hear. No one comes near. So why does he keep on? Because Father Mackenzie, you dumb fucks, is staying true to the Lord, which is why no one comes near. Okay, do you get me finally? That it's an honor for Father Mackenzie to do a sermon that no one will hear. What are there Beatles left? Ringo and Paul? Why don't you listen up for a change rather than have all your own ideas and be browbeating everybody else with your Hey Judes and all your, join the world and roll up for the Magical Mystery Tour and all that crap. I mean, then we have to, last thing is Charlie Kirk. I don't think we can really resolve it. Some people were asking me about Candace Owens. Candace is just a data point, just like anyone else. I look at her, I look at many different people, and each one has a little bit of a contribution to make. So by calling me out on Candace Owens is not going to change anything here. I intend to keep, in some kind of listening contact. And I have a lot of people that you've never heard of that are sources. And, we're just trying to get to the truth. And we don't really have the truth yet. And the visceral reaction I had to the widow is out of my guts. It's just like on day one, it was, horror Babylon. It was just like, and that, that doesn't change. I don't need more facts. I have plenty. I mean, if I've got Trump and Epstein, I've got Little Angels in Romania, I've got the Arizona a beauty pageant. I really don't need any more than that. I've got military-industrial complex parents. I've got CIA baby, possibly, but I don't need anything. I don't even need one factoid, nothing. It is what it is. And it's been that way from, I think I was on it day one. We put out a song that disturbs people. I think it's The New Queen or whatever. And I'm going to, play that. I need to play that a little bit more because as people hear that song, they can't believe it. I said, We did that on like the first couple of days. And it should be a big time song. Very well produced and all that, but nope. Yeah, my name, the algorithms, I have plenty of reason. And there are people that actually are depressed because of the way I get treated online. And I'm, believe me, it's more of an honor to be here with a war going on against me. And it's not just me, it's anybody that is, that they worry that might break through. They will put the same program on. So, it's an honor to serve in that capacity, Your Honor. It really is. See, because I have to go soothe myself. It's like we're trained and controlled and taught to climb the ladder and be successful and all that stuff. And so I've quit, looking at plans for the future a long time ago. And even, well, what is the goal with the film? Just to do crazy films and watch people recoil? No, I do films because we love it. The opportunity appeared, and we're building a company. We're distributing films for other people as well. And that's a very exciting business, giving a lot of people a chance to be heard and seen that otherwise wouldn't have a chance to. So putting it toward good and trying to be a force for good in a world that's we called it. The reason we started Crazed House was because Hollywood died. Just about the COVID time, that's when it died. And we knew that and wanted to take advantage of the new paradigm. So here we are, and we're at a very good spot of establishment during this time where a lot of people are just flying around not knowing what the hell to do. So we will be a force to be reckoned with, and no, it won't be. And that is competitive, but it's also involving me and a lot of other people. It's not like me and no one else. I'm there, but I can also hide. It's like, you have nothing to do with Zeph Daniel. No, sir, we don't. Okay, come on in. Why? What did Zeph do? Oh, he's an embarrassment. He's completely crazy. He's off the wall. Even now, look, he's talking about himself rather than God. No, when I talk about myself, I'm talking about God. Okay, buddy? Little guy, you got that? Stretch your brain cells a little bit. Okay, I love you guys. I'm every day you see me here is a gift of God, because I've many times wondered when I went to bed if I'd be waking up the next day. So and my mind's still sharp because I won't dull it. I won't let it go dull because of pain and misery and regret. No, I'm up today and I'm on it and I'm excited. And I'm excited that the world changed. I'm excited to know that it's not my fault. And it's not your fault. The only thing we had to do is accept that it is what it is, so we would immediately turn to what? Christ, because there is no alternative. You can't handle the truth. Fine, Jack Nicholson. But Jesus Christ can and is the truth. And so therefore I abide in good all the days of my life. No thanks to you, Jack. And with that, I bid you shalom. Yes, that word is still on my lips, and no, I won't hide it because you hate Jews, okay? Until next time.
In the castle where shadows creep, Queen Erica sits, her secrets deep, her crown's a mirror, cracked and sliced.